7 on the dice. Wanna do a song with me? Why you playing with your life? Flow water, but it's room temp. I ain't got no ice. Made 100 proud to pay. I ain't even set no price. I wake up and live my life. Smoke my weed and make some hits. Sell out everywhere I go. Can give a about your list. Know the voice when you the best. Close your eyes and take a guess. I be trying not to flex, but I shot this with my left. Playing, all this time been taking less. Hit boy, play a beat and I'ma eat him. I grew up near the crest, college part to be exact. Say they from where I'm from, we like where you at. Hit LA for some days, I might come back with a plaque. Gotta ask me where I'm from, you hit a beat, the West is back, huh?
KBLA Talk 1580. Davey, I don't want to interrupt the Russell. Davey D is on the phone. I'm always glad to talk with him, even though he's got a bunch of radio shows of his own to do. I harass him until he agrees to do my show as well. He is a hip-hop historian, a radio host, an author, a papa. Davey D got jobs. A professor, let me not forget professor. He's a nationally recognized journalist and hip-hop historian. He's syndicated. Radio programmer, DJ, community activist. He's got a few jobs. Good morning, Davey D.
Hey, Dominique, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, I'm out here, planting seeds in the garden, getting ready to harvest the corn. I'm a farmer too now, so it is.
Oh, you're literally planting seeds? I'm thinking you're spiritual, intellectual seeds. I'm like, what is going on right now?
No. I'm just kidding. I go to the grocery store like everybody else.
Dave, I mean, some of us just stay on the doggone mic. You've been on the mic. Me and you have both been on the mic for a minute, and we're still going strong. Praise God.
Yeah. It's a blessing, It's a blessing that I think we both did right by the people, or we try to at least.
Yeah. Well, look, we started off the week with August 11th, which I understand is now supposedly officially hip hop's birthday. I'm pretty sure you being an East Coast guy, even though you've been in Oakland since, Jesus was a child, you still have your accent, and you're still a New York guy. You embrace that birthday?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, I mean, some people don't, but most people do.
Yeah, I know.
And, the discrepancy about when it happened and when it didn't, I think, is a more recent phenomenon.
Really?
I always go back, because I go back to the first interview I did with Hurt, me and Harry Allen from Public Enemy. We did an interview with him in '88, and he talked about that party in August. Now, were there parties that happened before? Sure. Were there parties that happened during? Yes. Were there parties that happened after? Of course. But I always remind people growing up and being an MC at that time, and we're talking about 77, 78, 79, we heard Herc, and I grew up in a part of the Bronx where the first person I heard before Herc was Mario, Disco King Mario. But it was Herc's crew that we heard. It was Herc's crew that we emulated. It was Herc's crew that, not just Cool Herc, but, all the people that was in his crew. The Herculoids is what we knew. And so we can say that it was an actual date with intention, or we could just say it's symbolic,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we settled on talking about on Monday, being symbolic. To me, it wasn't just about Herc, and I love that you said that, Davey D, because you're making it not just about a date or a party, but about the reputation and the influence back then, which I wasn't there, so I don't know. But I was referring to the fact that not everybody places the beginnings of hip-hop with Cool Herc. Some people say, Gil Scott-Heron, Watts Prophets, Flip Wilson, the Mary Baraka, the Griots of Africa. You know what I mean? Like that, to say that, it's definitely Herc on this day and this party. I just don't agree with that. I don't think that we can say that. I think it's coming from a lot of different places and a lot of different traditions. But I like what you just said, because you're going based on street reputation and influence.
Well, there's another thing. The year that we did that interview with Herc, first of all, when he came, it was at the New Music Seminar. He showed up, and many people didn't really know who he was. Ironically, he walked into a room where there was a bunch of people on a panel describing what is hip-hop. And they looked, and it was like, oh, snap, that's Herc. But the people on the panel didn't know was Herc. And this was in 87. And so we talked, and he was pretty humble, and he didn't claim. He never made the claim that he was the father, and he never made the claim that this was the birthday. That was something that, that came about when they were having Zulu meetings. These were things that were being debated that weekend. That weekend that Herc came, there was big debates going on about how do you define it, who defines it, what is it about. There was big discussions around whether Miami bass, which was popular at the time, would you consider that hip-hop? So I remember there was about 500-600 people in a room, and Luke Skywalker was going back and forth with Dante Ross, and it was all this stuff. Then later on, it was a bunch of conversation about whether or not it even came from the Bronx, because there were older people in Brooklyn who said, well, we were doing parties and such a time. And all that is good. I mean, a culture isn't born on just one particular day. Nobody went to the lab and sat down and said, I'm creating something. It's a culmination of a lot of different things happening simultaneously. And Herc would just happen to be a major spark point. And they were saying it was his birthday back then, and they say it is now, and I go by what my elders say.
Well, I mean, I prefaced my opinion on Monday by saying, DJ Premier says it's his birthday, so who am I to argue with him? I think he's contributed a bit more to the culture than I have, but I still don't agree. Anyway, but I've always been hard-headed. You know that, Davey D. I don't want to say hard-headed, independent-minded. How about that? I wanted to talk a little bit about the state of hip hop. I guess it's according to that birthday, it's 52. And Miles came in with La Russell. It feels like the Bay Area is just stunting right now. I mean, it's just so much art coming out of there.
Yeah, music-wise, I think you were playing La Russell when I came on.
Yeah.
He just turned out Outside Lands, which was just great. We just had a big hip-hop festival that drew thousands of people, and hip-hop has expanded. It's in a good place. If you're looking at it from an organic perspective, we were talking about hip-hop and AI, and what does that mean? So I did a whole thing with Rakim and his people and Sway, and I think Black Eyed Peas, Will.i.am's people were there. And it just, to me, represented the maturity of where things are at. People are into business. People are into film writing. So big shout-out to Shanaka Hodge, who comes out of hip-hop, and, the success she had with Ironheart, and Ryan Coogler and the success he has, he comes out of hip-hop. And so, Boots Riley, what he's doing, that comes out of hip-hop. So I don't think it's just limited to somebody having to get on the mic and just make music, when there had always been so many other disciplines, the dance, the fashion, the DJing. They just had the DMC finals that was here, that was packed. And, again, these things aren't the commercial stuff, but they sold out, standing room only. Nobody could get in. And to me, that's a beautiful thing.
And that's where the juicy part has always been, right? The standing room only stuff that's not in the mainstream. You say it's in a good place. Some people say the cancellation of the BET Hip Hop Awards, is a sign of our demise.
It's a sign of the demise, maybe, as far as the industry is concerned, and that is an aspect of the culture. But the music industry is not hip-hop. The music industry is the music industry that uses hip-hop to, fulfill a set of economic goals, maybe social or even political goals. But that doesn't stop La Russell from doing what he does.
I mean, I guess I should have said the Soul Train Awards too. I don't think of that as just being hip hop, but the Soul Train and you're right to separate the art and the total culture with, all of its many aspects and tendrils from just the commercial industry itself. But you said hip hop is in a good place, and that the a couple of the complaints I hear that for those who say that hip hop is struggling or not in such a good place are, well, three, is that, the cancellation of these shows, the rise of sort of a lot of rap that doesn't seem as creative, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Jay French was on here arguing that the beef, and actually I think you said that in one of our conversations about hip hop, that you feel like that the industry beef is not good for the art of hip hop.
Beef is manufactured. I mean, the Kendrick Lamar and Drake thing. I mean, that wouldn't have been a beef without the machine behind it.
Now you sound like Jay French.
But I mean, there's if me and you have an argument, right?
Yeah,
or disagreement, right? So me and you have a disagreement. So that can just be us having a cordial disagreement. But somebody else can say Dave has beef with Dominique, and then they could put it on their show and the next show and the next show, and the thing it blows up. So let me kind of rephrase what I said. Hip hop is or aspects of hip hop are very profitable for people who want to frame it as black criminality, black dysfunction, black depth, black criminality, all that sort of stuff. There's a whole ecosystem that supports that and amplifies that. It goes from your TMZs on down to people who, I don't know, never been to Oakland, but are doing documentaries on the city of Oakland, right?
Yeah.
Talking about the crime, and then they say crime and hip-hop in the same breath, and then they say, well, hip-hop's in a bad place. Why? Because somebody with an accent from Germany came to Oakland and then did a show on it. We never talked to him. He never seen anybody, but he said hip-hop in depth in the same breath, and then he went down to L.A. and did the same thing, and then went to Chicago, and then we have a discussion that hip-hop is in crisis because some idiot decided to highlight something that wasn't even hip-hop related. So it's just like saying black people are in a bad place. Why? Well, look at all the killings going on in Chicago. But I just seen 80,000, 100,000 people come out for the House Music Festival.
Dang.
So what are we talking about?
Well, many aspects of being black. Davey D is my guest. Some interesting perspectives. We want to keep this going. I love in the chat, Daniel Samir asked the question, which I'll have you address when we continue the conversation. He thinks that Kendrick Lamar is an indication that we may be having a rap lyrical renaissance. We'll get your thoughts on that and more when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud.
A great place for progressive politics.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-550-9651.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
Or call 800-550-9651. That's 800-550-9651.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
You hear that? That's Mike sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. That's because Mike was smart this time. He took ZQL Ultra to fall asleep fast, stay asleep longer, and get the deeply restorative sleep he needs. So now he wakes up refreshed and ready to conquer Mondays.
Let's do this Monday.
ZQL Ultra. Not for colds, just for sleep. Really great sleep. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
16,000 square. 8 million up there, 2 million down here. When I was born, grandmama could see it. I be Bentley driven and very strategic. RM sleeve, no diamonds are needed. Floors are heated, so be it, so be it. With P, get something to meet you. Your soul don't like your body, we help you free it. Then we wait for TMZ to leak it. It ain't no secret, so be it, so be it. Smoke. So be it, so be it. Smoke. So be it. CLIP, SEFB, A-Ball LV. I can show you how to bust a brick if you let me. I'm monogram like confetti. Switch is ready.
Talking about the state of hip hop, inspiring you with a little clips. Davey D, hip hop historian, syndicated radio host, and farmer, is with me this morning. Attorney Dion Raymond's in the chat. She says, "What's up, Davey D?" Poetess is in the chat, and I had texted her earlier saying, "Why don't you call in and talk with me and Davey D?" She calls us Bay Area icons. Okay, Felicia, as are you, hip hop icon.
Yeah.
In the chat, the question was posed: are we having a lyrical renaissance in the I guess in the context of talking about Kendrick Lamar? But I also wanted to put that clips on it because the conversation about whether the clips new release challenges this generation or reboots the MC requirements, graduation requirements, or not. Are they just old guys doing what old guys do, being ignored by this generation? Maybe we should ask Miles that too.
So let me start with this lyrical renaissance. Lyricism never went anywhere, and I think to the degree that Kendrick has this high visibility, I mean, I went to see him in Dallas. I saw the entire Dallas stadium packed and singing word after word for him. So obviously he's popular. For the record, the biggest cheers went to SZA, but that's a whole other thing. But Kendrick killed it. Yeah, but Kendrick killed it. And I think, to that degree that he is the face of rap on the commercial side, yes, there's going to be the perception that there's a lyrical renaissance. But lyricism never left. I go to Hyro Day every year, and all I see is spitters. From Souls of Mischief on down, I see one after the other. So the lyricism.
But did it leave the mainstream?
Oh, well, yeah, it absolutely did leave the mainstream. But again, that's not the artist's fault. That's the person who decided that they were going to play MC Bubbly Boop versus a lyricist. And to the degree that Kendrick was able to break through and maintain his posture and his style and be rewarded for just doing what he's always done is a good thing. But I don't like to say that this means a renaissance. It just means that stuff that I think the majority of us listen to is finally breaking through the top. And make no mistake, Kendrick has always been nice with his words, but so is Jadakiss. You know, so is
J. Cole.
So there's a lot of folks that have always been nice.
I mean,
I don't get into a thing of trying to compare one against the other. I just say that I'm glad that Kendrick is representing an aspect of hip hop that many of us enjoy, regardless of what they put on the BET Awards and not.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm not trying to necessarily compare one toward the other, but I'm looking at it in terms of, you know, the movement. The trends come and go. Sometimes you hear more conscious stuff out and different, you know, trap takes over, different waves. The South takes over. It ebbs, it flows. I get that. But I feel like, to your earlier point, we had entered and are probably still in a very long period where it is the corporations that are dictating what is popular.
Absolutely. And that is always going to be a challenge, but corporations by nature take aspects of cultures, different aspects of people's culture, highlight it, monetize it, and then says this is the totality of a particular culture. I mean, we can look at jazz. You know, is jazz Kenny G, or is jazz Ornette Coleman and Miles Davis, or Thundercat, or, you know, Kanasi Washington? I mean, which jazz are we talking about? Kenny G is probably the best known and probably is, you know, he's good for what he does, but is that the totality of jazz?
Yeah, well, and we could get into the argument about, is that jazz, period, but that's not today's topic. But I mean, but
it's very much related, though.
Yeah, no, I see the parallel. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, like, okay, so we've always had so-called underground stuff, right? From super conscious to backpack to new trends bubbling up. That are never going to be dominated completely by the so-called industry, the record company, the machine, as you referenced it earlier. Mm-hmm. But it's felt like for a long time this sort of what some folks call mumble rap and a lot of sort of trap stuff is crowded, has elbowed out more lyrically oriented or even other subject matters, to be honest with you.
And then I want to know who was the person that made the decision to play A over B. And while that drought was happening, I would say it was happening in a lot of spaces where we as black people tend to be at. Many of the watering holes that we go to is what we were dealing with. But meanwhile, I'm going to a festival and I'm seeing Megan going right alongside Stevie Nicks. And I'm seeing Public Enemy perform to 20,000 or 1,000 people or 100,000 people in Colombia. And that's the other thing. Hip-hop is so, just the music, the rapping aspect is so huge internationally. Like a lot of places, it's like they're not even checking for some of the stuff that is commercially being offered here.
Yeah. But it all plays into what the legacy is and what, I guess, the culture encompasses. We only got a couple minutes here, but following up on my question, Miles, do you think that an album like, Clips, which maybe it's not getting played on radio or, as much as some other content, but it's clearly very popular, it's impacting. Do you think that is influencing the younger generation, like yourself? You're an artist, or do you think it's just old guys old guying?
I think it's definitely going to be it's going to have a lasting impact, I believe. I think, as you said before, the streets know. And I know I've driven down the street and heard the Clips album thumping under my feet as I drive down through LA. So I don't think that the impact of it will be calculated in the long term based off of how the sales go or how the statistics go, because statistics are essentially lies. You can lie about statistics nowadays. So no, I think that we are having a renaissance period, and I do think that it's going to help the community and lyricism as a whole, and have a lasting impact for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think your point is well taken too, Davey D. I mean, we can go on a long list of both pop, commercially successful and underground artists who are insanely talented lyrically. That's the thing. I've been doing more, renewing my vows with hip hop and just listening to a lot more stuff. And the thing that's stunning to me is the depth and breadth of the talent. There's just so many great rappers, and it's not just the music itself, like you said, it's the culture. But I start with the music because that's what that the microphone mastery is what always inspires me the most. Talking about the state of hip hop, you're invited to call in 800-920-1580. Davey D is my guest, and it's only happening right here.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Alexandria Ikamoni with BIN News Now. Many black people are still reacting to the news of the Sonia Massey bill. It's changing the way police are hired in Illinois. Governor J.B. Pritzker signed the measure into law.
What happened to her was the very definition of injustice. We can't bring her back, but we can let her spirit guide us to action.
The measure was introduced after former sheriff's deputy Sean Grayson shot and killed a black woman inside her home in July of 2024. The state of New York is suing Zelle. Black Attorney General Letitia James filed a complaint and says security lapses on the banking platform have allowed scam artists to steal over $1 billion from consumers. Snoop Dogg's hemp-infused drinks are popping up in more markets. The drink company Iconic Tonics is now being sold in New Jersey, Tennessee, and Georgia. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Attention 405 drivers. From 10 p.m. Friday, August 22nd to 5 a.m. Monday, August 25th, the 405 will be down to 3 lanes in both directions through Sepulveda Pass. Expect delays. Plan ahead, take alternate routes, or use public transit. Follow at Caltrans District 7 for updates.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers are glad they don't have to play the Angels anymore this season. The Angels beat them again Wednesday night, a dramatic 6-5 win that knocked them out of first place in the National League West Division. The Dodgers have been in first place since April 27. Angels catcher Logan O'Hoppe delivered a 2-run, 2-out bases-loaded single in the bottom of the 8th inning to put the Angels up by 1. The Dodgers lost all 6 games to the Angels this season. That alarm you're hearing is coming from the Dodgers dugout and the front office. Condolences to family and friends of former Denver Broncos wide receiver Lionel Taylor. Taylor passed away Wednesday. He was 89. Taylor was the first wide receiver in the AFL or NFL to have 100 catches in a season. He also was the first black coordinator in NFL history. Taylor was the Rams offensive coordinator in 1980 and 1981. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least like to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfire support at QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
You hear that? That's Mike sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. That's because Mike was smart this time. He took ZQL Ultra to fall asleep fast, stay asleep longer, and get the deeply restorative sleep he needs. So now he wakes up refreshed and ready to conquer Mondays.
Let's do this Monday.
ZQL Ultra. Not for colds, just for sleep. Really great sleep. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies. Like how I'm more than Saquon Barkley, the NFL's reigning leading rusher. I'm also the NFL's leading husher. Shh, hush up back there. Wow, I might have just set the hushing record. Well, almost. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Investment Services Corporation, Member FINRA, Columbus, Ohio.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Mr. Morale, give me high five. 2-time cynical defendant, judging my life. Backpedaler, what they say you do to cha-cha. I'ma stand on it, 6'5", from 5'5". Fun fact, I ain't taking back. Like it when they pro-black, but I'm more Kodak black. Tell me where the money at, ayy, where the homies at. Universal call out, I can members only that, ayy. CC. Wait a minute, Ben aquí, c'est la vie, I tell the whole truth from A to Z. Aye, show me you real, show me that you bleed. Aye, hello, crackers. I seen arguing about who's blacker. Even blacked out screens and called it solidarity. Meditating in silence makes you wanna tell on me.
Are you happy for me?
Really?
Are you happy for me? Smile on my face, but are you happy for me? Yeah, I'm out the way. Are you happy for me? Are you happy for me?
Really?
Are you happy for me? Smile on my face, but are you happy for me? Yeah, I'm out the way. Are you happy for me?
KBLA Talk 1580. Davey D is my guest, and we're talking about the state of hip hop. That Not Like Us feud, beef, whatever. And I love the way you said it, Dave. That beefs are manufactured, even though We were getting into it about whether this is helpful or hurtful for the industry. Still going through legal channels. I guess Drake's lawyers are still trying to get all these documents. Everything they can get about Kendrick Lamar. They are trying to prove that the company artificially inflated the popularity of that album. They also are trying to get information about any domestic violence issues regarding Kendrick Lamar. They want them to know the valuation of his catalog, the compensation, figures for other label heads. They want to know whether or not a label has declined to put out content because it was deemed defamatory. They're claiming that that's what happened with Pusha T. So this is still simmering.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to sit back and let it implode. You know, because the industry has always artificially inflated its product. You know, they've
all of it.
Always paid people. Well, I think a good amount of it. And so if Kendrick, if Drake, who's been a beneficiary of that, then I say let him do what he's going to do. You know, this one I'm going to sit out because I'm not going to rush to the defense of a label. You know, Universal has been responsible for actually suppressing a lot of stuff. They make decisions on what's going to be amplified and not amplified. So, you know, let those two titans go at it. But with that being said, going to Miles' point about the clips, one thing I would say is I would argue that to the degree that Pusha T's name was out there for doing what? Battling Drake or having a lyrical beef with him, put him and his group on the map in a way where it's like, oh, that's that guy that got into it with Drake. Let me see what he's talking about.
Right.
And so, you know, hence it might be some younger fans that weren't really aware of the clips that are checking for them in 2025.
Yeah.
That would have otherwise not because of Pusha T.
Yeah, I was just telling Miles a couple weeks ago that I should strike up a beef with someone so I can get famous, Davey D.
That's how you do it, right?
It couldn't be me and you though, because you know we need someone like you said. We got to go intergenerational. I think I need to strike up a beef with Amanda Seales or someone. Oh, I like her too much. Anyway, LL Cool J will host the MTV Music Video Awards. What does that say about the state of hip hop? I mean, this dude is iconic. He's been around since the early days.
I love what LL's been doing.
Yeah.
And this is what I mean by he's playing his part as an elder statesman in a way that I think others should emulate. He's establishing institution with his Rock the Bells. He's putting people into place. You know, Pioneers can host his radio shows and do all that sort of stuff. He's putting out an album not because he needs to, but because he just wants to remind people he can get busy too. And I think that the fact that he's been a preservationist is something that we should applaud him on doing. He's doing what we say that somebody who's older, you know, whatever that means in the industry, should be doing, and he's doing that.
He's a role model for the chronologically gifted. I love that. I want to go to Kwamel calling us from Gardena because I know he's got to go to work. Hi, Kwamel.
Hey, yeah, I had to jump off for a second, but I got a quick one that I really think a lot of folks don't talk or think about. Is that hip hop, to me, is not dependent on rappers because they'll just break away and be like, oh, we just do that gutter. We got to do that gutter. We do these country rap tunes. We do that. They'll distance themselves away from hip hop real fast just to make their little music. I don't think it's dependent on the music, period. It depends on, there's three things I think to really have hip hop right. The dances, it's got to be a dance movement. And we got a proper street dance movement like we saw with the funk dancing back in Oakland, popping in Fresno and locking here. You need street knowledge, proper consciousness, and you need curation. If you're going to go back to music, you need curation. And that's what we're hearing with the radio shows, you know, like yours or in the underground, you know, Mike Nardone, Fly D, Michael Mixon Moore, you know, 4 people like that. So we get those things back, I think we'll have something a lot more interesting, you know, premiering on it with that proper curation as opposed to just depending on rap music alone to figure it out. I'll take your comments off here on that. Peace.
Yeah, and I liked your comment in the chat too, Kwamel. You were saying that even though you love the Watts Prophets, they don't have the spirit of hip hop, even though they were rapping over beats. I mean, one could debate that, but it's an interesting way of putting it. Thoughts on what Kwamel was saying, Davey D?
Oh, sign that man up. I agree with him 100%. Right on.
Speaking of what
the
chronologically gifted among us, the hip-hop veterans should be doing, Nas has spearheaded this whole fund, right, for the Paid in Full Foundation to help support health care for some of the pioneers of hip-hop. I love that. To me, that's giving elder statesman vibes, too.
Yeah, and again, you're talking about $1 billion a year industry.
Right.
And I'm glad that Nas is doing that, but what about the labels?
Hello.
And what about the radio stations that have, benefited from being the place where hip-hop lives and all that sort of stuff? I think just the ethical thing to do is to look and say, you know what, let's make sure these people are breaded out versus, extracting from them and then just, discarding them and owning their catalogs and owning their energy and everything else. So I'm glad that he's doing it. It's something that I think we should, if we're in a position to do. But I also look and go, Universal, you just made a killing pitting two black men against each other. Why don't you take some of those funds and bread out some of these pioneers since you made so much? Will they do that? What's his name? Gaines, will he do that?
And so far the answer is no.
Maybe he should do that.
But yeah, it's a really good point.
You got to go why?
Why?
Because what they want to sell is black beef, black criminality, black dysfunctionality, black beef. But when you want to look and say, well, I'm benefiting from this art form that has these people that are nearly homeless.
Yeah.
Let me make sure that they're taken care of. Because you're definitely taking care, in theory, of your colleagues and your employees. You make sure they have pensions, or at least you want to hope that they do that.
Mm-hmm.
So consider those people part of your workforce since you extracted from them.
Yeah, and there's not that. I mean, there's not that many. The labels could easily do it. Ice-T is also putting 5 on that. He says there's a lot of people that are okay, but there's a lot of people who aren't. And I guess Swiss Beats is kicking into that too. But it's a good point. It reminds me of boxers who don't have a union, and once, and they don't get money, even though their fights are shown over and over and over again, and people continue to profit off of it while they live in their cars.
Yeah. Well, I just remind people it's great to see people do GoFundMes, and it's great to see artists like Nas and Ice-T and others step up. Salute to them. But there are companies that are sitting here that have billions in the coffer, and all they need to do is write a check, and they can take care of that, and we shouldn't have to do a GoFundMe. You should just be able to bread these folks out and keep it moving.
Yeah.
That's the right thing to do.
I think it's a really, really good point. It also reminds me of basketball, Davey D, in the sense, or football, in the sense that the early players got so little money compared to what is on the table now. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So a Rakim or, Roxanne Shante or, Funky 4 plus one more, or whoever it is, LA Dream Team should have some kind of balancing, because the industry wasn't $1 billion industry back then. But if it wasn't for them, it wouldn't be $1 billion industry today.
Absolutely. And the thing that we also got to remember is that these companies have established an institution, which is their business, right? Hip-hop saved some of these labels when you really think about it. But at the end of the day, as they build these institutions, they want to remove the foundation, which were those pioneers from it, and create a whole new history and say that, Universal Records is the start of hip-hop, the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef. That's where it started, and leave out the fact that there was 40 years of people who toiled and tried to figure it out, who you were able to benefit from, their knowledge, their creativity, all that sort of stuff. So you got to look at the people who have a lot and expect them to give back a lot.
And if the trend at the Smithsonian continues, Davey D, soon Amber Rose will be the only pioneer of hip-hop, according to the Trump administration. Everybody else will be erased. That's a whole other, it's a whole other talk show. Davey D is my guest. He's a hip-hop historian. He's a syndicated radio host, and a lot of other things. And we're talking about the state of hip-hop on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Join the Black Hollywood Education and Resource Center for its 32nd annual Sisters Are Doing It For Themselves Short Film Festival, featuring 22 powerful short films by emerging Black women directors. See their visions, hear their voices. Saturday, August 16th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Writers Guild Theater, 135 South Doheny Drive in Beverly Hills. For more information, call BHERC at 323-957-4656 or email bherc@bherc.org. Tickets may be purchased at eventbrite.com or at the door. Are you ready to be a part of the conversation that will help shape our nation's future? Get ready to join us for the Left Coast Forum, Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech, where progressive voices will come together to tackle the issues that matter most to working families across Los Angeles and beyond. From economic justice to climate action, from healthcare to housing, we're bringing together the brightest minds and most passionate advocates for real solutions and real change. With workshops, 2 major keynote addresses, and a closing reception with great music and good food. It's the Left Coast Forum, where your voice matters and your ideas take action. Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the LA Progressive. The future won't wait, and neither should you. Mark your calendar now to be there and be heard. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies. Like how I'm more than Saquon Barkley, the NFL's reigning leading rusher, I'm also the NFL's leading husher. Shh, hush up back there. Wow, I might have just set the hushing record. Well, almost. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Investment Services Corporation, member FINRA, Columbus, Ohio.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
It continues right now with Davey D on First Things First. Davey D, tell them how to tap in with you, how to hear all your many enterprises and buy your books and all that good stuff.
Well, we have a book that was recently banned by the Department of Justice.
Congratulations.
It's called Can't Stop, Won't Stop. Myself and Jeff Chang, we did an updated version of the original text. And so that is called the Young Adult Edition, which is good. You can probably hear me at hardknockradio.org. You can hit me up on social media under Mr. Davey D, MrDaveyd.
Mr. Davey D, which is how I should be addressing you in the conversation.
That's right.
Yes.
Call me Mr. D.
Mr. Davey D. We had one of our dust-ups this week. We've been having some hip-hop knockdown drag-outs around here. Was about graffiti, because I say graffiti or spray can art or whatever you want to call it is an art form, and folks want to say it's vandalism, and I don't see how you can make that argument given the colossal impact of graffiti styling on everything from fashion to graphic arts to everything. But folks are still saying that.
Well, my favorite thing to point out is that my mouth dropped the first time I saw it. It was a Star Wars advertisement on a subway.
Wow.
And the whole subway car was had the Star Wars ad on it. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, you were just arresting people for putting a throw-up on an entire subway. Now you have an ad executive who's going, hey, Mr. Smith, he came up with a new way to do advertising. We're going to call it a wrap. And we're going to put the entire train and envelope it in a with our logo. Well, that's what hip-hop artists were doing. That's what graffiti artists were doing. Or putting your name up on top of a building, which people are like, wow, who would put their name up on top of a building? That's vandalism. Now you see everybody has their name on top of a building.
Yeah.
And, and we can get into the whole thing about the technological aspects of it. How were people who didn't have art lessons able to scale up? How were they able to really do these incredible works of art on a subway in the middle of the night with no cell phones, no lights, none of that sort of stuff? So you should be nurturing it versus demonizing it. And I'll close with this. There's an ad company right now in Brooklyn that bought up all the spaces where they saw graffiti, and now they sell ad where they have their people that they hire, not the graph artists, but their indoor people who now go, we can give you an ad at this spot for X amount of dollars, and we'll have somebody do some graffiti, put your ad in graffiti, and make it hip for the youngsters out there. So it's extraction, commodification, and then discrediting the people, criminalizing the people who did it first.
That's insane. I mean, just that's instant commodification right there. So you say the culture is healthy, and you don't just mean the music, you mean the culture overall. And since we've got so many non-encouraging things happening in Washington and worldwide, what gives you that feeling, that encouraging feeling like we're going to be all right? Not only that, we're going to keep on keeping on.
Well, I mean, if we're moving above and beyond the music, I look at people in hip-hop. Look at you and Melina and James Farr and other people who are at this station that I'm on, all come out of hip-hop. Look what you all are doing. Now, we have counterparts to you in Washington, D.C., your Jared Balls and all those guys that I know that are boots on the ground and trying to do things. So people have a politic. People have followers and followings that they have been organizing with. And sure, yeah, we're all going through some hard times, so we're not immune to it. But people aren't just sitting back and not doing anything about it. And so I look at those kernels of resistance, if you will, and I build off that versus going, woe is me, because it doesn't show up on the evening news when I know that the evening news is mostly capitulated to what is going on right now. Y'all haven't capitulated, so there's a spark of hope, and you're in the second largest city in the country. So we should be building around that versus saying, well, what's going on? What's going on is y'all are going on. That's what's going on. So, let's keep building versus, complaining that ABC didn't do it. You're the new ABC. In fact, you're better than ABC, and that's how hip-hop carries itself that way.
Yeah.
And I think we got to have that spirit to say, you're not just as good, but you're actually much, much better. And you're much sharper, and you're much more intellectually, gifted, and you're much more, have a lot more grit than those who are sitting back, maybe collecting a big salary, but, building a bunker and putting their head in the sand.
Well, okay, so chicken or egg question. Does hip-hop, the street culture in hip-hop drive the politics, or is it the other way around?
It depends on who you're talking to. Some people have always been enamored with what they think is the other side of the fence, where the grass they think is greener. So some people will follow the dictates of what is deemed popular by, capitalism and corporations and all that. And the rest of us are looking and saying, I don't care about being on no BET Awards. I want to go to see La Russell do his backyard thing. That's my reward. I want to go to a festival like the hip hop festival that they have. That's my reward, not something that is commercially presented where they're trying to fulfill somebody else's agenda versus mine.
And and thank God for that independent streak, the La Russells, the Larry Junes of the world.
But that's the streets.
Yeah. That is the streets.
That's an aspect of the streets as well.
So, do the streets influence do the activists influence the artists, or do the artists influence the activists?
Right now, I'm saying that the activists have been influencing the artists, and the activists is the streets.
Right, exactly. The activists are the streets.
Right. So, it used to be that we were really dependent upon an artist to say certain things because they had the big microphones. Now, I don't necessarily need you to do that. Like, I listened to the Clips album. There ain't nothing socially conscious about it. It's a cool album. The music is good. But I don't need them to say fight the power.
Right.
I'm not looking for them to do that. I need you to say fight the power.
Fight the
If
power.
you go on your show, but if you go on your show and start doing their content, then I think we'd have to have a different conversation, because we need you to be the tip of the spear, politically astute and all that. I don't need that. I don't necessarily need that from an artist whose music I'm listening to. Maybe that's my escape for the moment, but I need you to be on point.
Davey D, as always, it's great fun talking with you. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. Peace out, y'all.
Yeah, it's on us, Tavis. Davey D said it's our job to be the tip of the spear. Tavis Smiley's got a whole great lineup for you coming up next. Don't forget to tap in with me on social media. Get your vote in for what we're naming Thursday. It is not too late. Like my mama used to say, history is now, and we are making it together. Until tomorrow, be creative, be fearless. One love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Alexandria Ikamoni with BIN News Now. Many black people are still reacting to the news of the Sonia Massey bill. It's changing the way police are hired in Illinois. Governor J.B. Pritzker signed the measure into law.
What happened to her was the very definition of injustice. We can't bring her back, but we can let her spirit guide us to action.
The measure was introduced after former Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson shot and killed a black woman inside her home in July of 2024. The state of New York is suing Zelle. Black Attorney General Letitia James filed a complaint and says security lapses on the banking platform have allowed scam artists to steal over $1 billion from consumers. Snoop Dogg's hemp-infused drinks are popping up in more markets. The drink company Iconic Tonics is now being sold in New Jersey, Tennessee, and Georgia. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Attention 405 drivers. From 10 p.m. Friday, August 22nd to 5 a.m. Monday, August 25th, the 405 will